Shana, do 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 do. Shana, do 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 do. Shana, do 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 do. Shana.
Hello interwebs and welcome back. I'm Shana and this is where I share my life and stories and adventures and opinions and whatever else I feel like. And today I'm coming at you with, I think it's my second ever Q&A. So I pulled questions from Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and of course YouTube. So if you guys ever have any questions, you can feel free to leave them. You can also follow me on my other socials if you want to ask questions whenever I do these Q&As. And I'm going to be answering them today. So let me grab my other phone and let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so starting off, Turtoggle on YouTube asked, I got a question for you. What's the thing about Japan that everybody knows but nobody talks about? For example, a tourist spot is actually riddled with criminal activity, or a beloved restaurant puts various experimental drug compounds in their dishes. Well, as far as I know, we don't have any restaurants that put experimental drug compounds in their dishes, although I did hear something about is it the Meiji chocolate factory here? I don't remember what I heard about it, but it made me not want to eat their chocolate anymore. It's probably fine though, it's probably just a rumor. Aside from that, I would say the thing that people don't really talk about, it's more of a general thing than a specific location thing, but a lot of people have this idea that there is no crime in Japan. It doesn't happen here. Yes, the crime rates in Japan are extremely low compared to other places, and it is probably the safest country in the world, but there are a lot of bad things that happen here, and everybody should always be aware and be careful of their surroundings. Now, especially as a woman, I think it's even more important to do those things. We tend to be harassed more. I've had friends who were sexually assaulted. I've been harassed and assaulted myself. So you have to be very careful. It doesn't matter what country you're in. There are crazy people and bad people everywhere. I think for the most part, Japan, yes, obviously does have very low crime rates, but you know, crazy shit does happen here too, and we should all be careful and safe. Cyborg MG asks the meaning of Shana. So this was kind of a whole debacle when I was born. My mom originally wanted to name me Rhiannon, which my dad didn't like, then Mercedes, which my dad didn't like, and then she was like, okay, well, I want to name her Shana, but she couldn't name me Shana because my cousin's name was Shana, and then she was like, okay, how about Shannon, but she couldn't name me Shannon because my cousin's best friend's name was Shannon, but they were fighting and not friends at the time. So then she was like, okay, let's mix the two together and let's make Shana. So according to my parents, there was no meaning of Shana, but if you Google it, in Hebrew, Shana actually means rose, and there was another Google search that I did a long time ago where in some other language it comes up as beautiful. So I could be beautiful rose, or I could be absolutely no meaning.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine.
Fun little fact though, one of the first words that I learned in Japan was actually shanai, which is kansai ben for shogunai, which means it cannot be helped. So my name is one letter away from it cannot be helped. Clutchbin from Discord asks, what are Japanese perception and views of foreigners, black people? So, in my experience, it seems that Japanese people, specifically when it comes to black people, are just very interested because it's not common that you see somebody with such dark skin and curly hair here. So they're fascinated, they're interested, they want to know more about them. However, there are a small minority of people who do have a negative perception related to what some of the media does portray, specifically in things like movies and TV shows about black people. And then as far as foreigners in general, it really varies a lot based on like generation and what area you're looking at, as well as just individual to individual. There are people who are racist. There are people who have negative perceptions of foreigners. I've been yelled at by somebody just for being a foreigner. I've had friends who've been yelled at. I had a friend who was actually attacked just for being a foreigner. However, those things are more rare because I think Japanese people are becoming more used to seeing foreigners. In fact, a lot of them are very welcoming especially if you're just here visiting. I would say that there's a good portion of people who don't necessarily want us living here, but there are also a lot of people who are really accepting, and they want to share their culture, and they want us to be a part of their society, and they want us to learn. So just like any other country or anywhere that you go to, you're gonna have your outliers who don't like you and don't want you to be there, but there's also a lot of really good people here who are very loving and very warm and very accepting and do want us to be here. So I hope that made sense. He also asked, how is living there versus the US? So I think living in Japan is very, very easy. Everything for the most part is very convenient. There are some things that are a little strangely inconvenient, and I don't understand why, other than the fact that like Japan is very slowly evolving when it comes to accepting sorts of like new technologies and things like that, especially with older generations. But for the most part, everything's super easy. I love living in Japan. I think there are definitely benefits to either living in America or living in Japan, as well as things that are more difficult in both places. But I think overall Japan is a wonderful country to be in. It's very easy to live here, and I love it. He also asked the differences in people, like how they interact with you. I think that also varies based a lot on individual experiences. So for me, I've been very lucky. Even though I obviously stand out and I'm clearly foreign, I think that people are very kind to me for the most part, and I think it has a lot to do with how I approach them. If you approach people with kindness and an open heart and a willingness to learn from them, they're going to 9 out of 10 times reciprocate those feelings to you. And I've been very lucky in that aspect. I have been in a lot of situations where I have been treated differently just because I'm foreign, and I think that's something that happens in any country when you're a foreigner. And yeah, shouldn't be that way, but it is what it is. You learn to deal with it and you accept it and you move on. Felix, also known as Little Moon Witch on Instagram. Side note, go check out her stuff. She's a wonderful, amazing, talented tattoo artist, and I highly, highly, highly recommending her work out.
Pretty sure what I just said was not English, but yeah, recommend checking her work out. It's awesome.
She asks, what's your favorite fantastic beast in the wizardry world? No. Don't do this to me, Felix. This is a hard question. I love Harry Potter, for those of you who don't know. Loving Harry Potter includes loving Fantastic Beasts because it's a part of that whole world. For me, if I had to choose one... Okay, maybe the Mooncalf, especially because in the Harry Potter Wizard Unite game, it's so stinking cute. Have you looked at the Mooncalf? He's adorable. He's a little baby. Or I also really like the Demiguise, and I like the Thunderbird as well for other reasons. So yeah, I don't know. I like all of them. Wait, can I choose a unicorn? Does that count as a fantastic beast? Because hello, unicorns. She also asked, what's your favorite restaurant in Japan? So for me, my favorite restaurant is actually my Japanese mom's izakaya, Aon. She makes the best food. If you want to have some really good local food, check out a local izakaya. They're always the best. However, if we're talking like Japanese chain restaurants, I would say maybe Yoshinoya. I really like Yoshinoya. They have a really good vegetable curry that I'm really into when it comes to chain restaurants, so definitely check them out. Nick asks, if you didn't need to sleep, what would you do with all of that extra time? If I didn't need to sleep, I would get so much stuff done. Like, I would be caught up on my videos. I would be reading more books. I would be playing more games. I'd be playing more guitar. I'd be spending more time with people that I care about. I would get so much stuff done, except for on weekdays, because I really only get 4.5 to 5 hours of sleep, so that time would probably just be spent catching up on things that I need to catch up on. But weekends, oh my God, so many other things to do. I would love that. Can we make a way that we don't have to sleep? As much as I love sleep, but I think I love sleep because I need it, not because I just actually love sleep. Does that make sense? Obi asks, what is your favorite Japanese legend? So I really actually want to start a series on here where we talk about some of the different Japanese legends, because I don't know a whole lot of them, and I think it would be a really good opportunity for me to learn about them as well as share them with you guys. But I think right now one of my favorites is probably Kuchisake Onna, which is the slit-mouthed woman, and I actually dressed up as her for Halloween 2 years ago, and that was a loud ass crow. Okay, anyway, basically her story is about how she comes to people in the night and she's wearing a mask, like, you know, one of the surgical masks that people wear when they're sick here. And she says, "Do you think I'm beautiful?" And then, you know, you're like, "Oh, well, yeah, you're pretty, of course, like, hello." And then she takes off her mask and you see her split mouth and she's like, "How about now?" And there's proper ways that you're supposed to respond or not respond to either get killed or not get killed, or just have your face disformed. So yeah, I really like her story. I think it's really interesting, but I would like to get into more of those with you guys. If that's something you're interested in, let me know down below. Amanda, also known as Pandasaurus Loves Books on Instagram, asks, if you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Honestly, I have a really hard time choosing just one place because I don't feel like I'm completely ready to like settle down in a location yet. But as far as like, oh, okay, earthquake notification. As far as like there being a place that I would like to live next, if I could go anywhere, I would really love to go to either Greece or India next. I think that would be really amazing to have both of those experiences. I've always been really fascinated by Greek culture, and I've also been really interested in Indian culture for a long time as well. Amanda also asks, what's been your favorite experience while teaching? I have lots of really fun teaching stories in general, but I think for me, the general aspect of connecting with my students has been one of the most amazing things. I've been so lucky to meet so many amazing people, both teaching Eikaiwa and teaching junior high school. Junior high school students are so funny and interesting, and if you can get them to talk to you, they have a lot to say, and they're just I love them. I think just in general, forming connections with people has been the best experience for me while teaching. Nons, I'm about to butcher your last name, and I'm so sorry, but Nons_Gerard on Instagram asks, do you think I should open a channel? The answer, Nons, is yes. Are you freaking kidding me? Why not? If you enjoy making videos and it's something that you want to do, why the heck not? Do it. Kokone_0123 on Instagram says, I am Kokone. What color do you like? Hello, Kokone. I actually really like 3 different colors. Obviously, black is one of them, purple is one of them, but I've also loved red since I was a little kid. So I like black, purple, and red. Dario, aka Mario_with_the_D on Instagram asks, if you had a one-way ticket to a past time, in what era would you live and why? P.S. You can choose whatever era, even the 80s or 1800s, anything. It's a hard question because I can't imagine living in a past era and not having Google Maps. As first world and ridiculous as that is, getting around without a map is terrifying to me, and I'm terrible at reading an actual map. However, if I were going to choose, I think maybe the Renaissance period in Europe would be really interesting, especially with all of the big movements and the art and everything. That would be really exciting to see. I think it would also be really cool to travel back to one of the time periods where Egypt was really booming. I would go back to there if I could. That would be exciting. Yaz Hurst on Instagram asks, if you had a time machine, which year or era would you travel to and why? So, this one doesn't limit me to the past. If I had a time machine, I would actually be really interested in traveling into the future. Even if it's just 50 or 100 years into the future, I would be really excited to see how we've evolved as people, what has changed, and if some of the issues that we're facing now have really been conquered and rectified, because we've got a lot of things going on that really need a lot of help. And I would hope that in the future we have made those positive changes and maybe we're working together more as people and countries and just showing a lot more love and peace. Yaz Hurst also asks, which house do you belong to in Harry Potter? I am a Slytherin! So I have a little bit of like inner debate with that because part of me feels kind of Ravenclaw, but every time I take the test I end up a Slytherin, except for when I took the test for the American houses. I was actually put in the house that is the equivalent to being Ravenclaw, so my heart is confused. But I'm a Slytherin. I choose Slytherin on everything when I have to choose my house, and I will represent always. What's been your favorite and least favorite food while traveling? So my favorite food while traveling, I really enjoyed the food in Thailand. Everything was so easy to eat veggie there, and I just fell in love with literally everything in Thailand. Pad Thai, Pad Thai, can't go wrong. As far as my least favorite food while traveling, do the scorpions in Thailand count? Because probably would never eat those again. However, I think the thing that probably tasted the worst that I've liked the least has been maybe the stinky tofu in Taiwan. I still don't think it was bad necessarily, but it just wasn't good, and I wouldn't necessarily crave it, if that makes sense. I've been really lucky to not eat anything like super gross and avoided that. I like natto, and I have not tried funazushi, so there's that. So she also asks, what do you do in your spare time when you're not traveling and being fabulous? I spend a lot of time, thank you for calling me fabulous by the way, I spend a lot of time editing videos and making these videos because I actually really enjoy doing it. I also have been practicing the guitar and learning the ukulele recently. I spend time reading, I enjoy playing video games, and just, you know, hanging out. It's also fun to just kind of lay down and read a book and relax, or watch something on YouTube. I enjoy doing that as well. So kind of all over the place with my hobbies and the things I like to do, but I think that's part of my personality. Just all over the place, all the time. Explore Jap on Instagram says, life. If you're asking me how life is, life's great for the most part. I mean, there's always something that can be improved or better, but I love my life, and I'm very lucky, and I'm very grateful, and I'm very blessed. Every day is a new adventure in some way, and I love being alive. Sarah Tajoy on Instagram asks, favorite book. This is gonna sound really bad. I know, I'm aware. But Harry Potter is my favorite book, and I say Harry Potter and I say the series of Harry Potter, but if I had to choose just one, I think The Prisoner of Azkaban is probably my favorite, but they're all fantastic. Now, if I'm not allowed to choose Harry Potter, that makes it even more difficult because there's a lot of really good books that I like, including like 1984, Night, lots of books, but I think I would maybe choose And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I really love that book. Anonymous asks, how about birth control in Japan? So here's one that I think is really important, and if you gentlemen do not want to watch this and you are not interested, you can skip ahead to the timestamp here. Basically, birth control in Japan, when I first came here, I was told that I could not get it. I went to a doctor, he refused to give me birth control, he wanted to do an IUD. I did not have the money for that, and I also was not interested because my sister had big problems with her Mirena, and I didn't want one. So I went for a few months without it, and then one day I decided to do a little bit of research again, and just that week a company had opened which allows you to speak with a doctor online in English, and they will mail you your birth control. So it's super easy. I will put all of that information on the description below for you ladies who are interested in that. I 10 out of 10 recommend it. It's so nice to be able to have my birth control just delivered to my house here, and also if there's ever a problem, be able to talk to the doctor in English. Christopher Treader asks, did you get your car fixed? Maybe like 5 years ago when I sold my car, because I don't have one. I have 2 bicycles though. Love Nikki on Instagram asks, your skin looks awesome. What's your skincare routine? Thanks, girl. I appreciate that. My skincare routine is pretty simple. If you guys are ever interested in having like a detailed video on my skincare routine and like maybe, you know, what my everyday makeup is to school or makeup in general, I would love to make a video on that, but basically I always make sure to moisturize. I have a moisturizer that I use in the morning and the evening. I use an eye cream in the morning and the evening. I always take my makeup off every day before I go to sleep. It's so important and it makes a huge difference. And then I just wash my face with IT Cosmetics. So if you want more details on the products that I use, my actual routine, any extra things that I might do, let me know down below and that's something that I can do for you. How was it uprooting your life and moving to another country? So obviously, it's not easy. It's not easy even just making that decision that this is what you want to do, that you want to go to another country and that you're going to drop everything. You're going to leave your friends, you're going to leave your family, and you're going to go out and do your own adventure. And if I said it was easy, I would be lying. But I do not regret it even for a second. I think that moving to another country and changing your life does so many things for you, both physically, mentally, spiritually. It just is life-changing and completely changes who you are as a person for the better. Advice that I have for others would be to go into it with an open mind. Don't go into it with too many expectations, because I feel like when you expect things to be a specific way, no matter where you're going, whether it's even, you know, just going on a vacation somewhere, you are let down because expectations kind of suck. Let's be honest. And also, I think that it's important to do some research before you go to places, not to give yourself expectations, but to have an idea of what culture you're walking into, so that way you have a little bit of knowledge and you aren't going in and you aren't being rude and disrespectful. I think that's probably my biggest pieces of advice there. With the Olympics in Japan this year, what advice on respect do you have for new travelers? Don't be like the rugby guys. And by that, I mean, I don't know if anybody saw the video on Twitter that was going around of the guys playing rugby on the train. Don't do that. Don't do that. If you're a traveler in Japan and you're here for rugby or the Olympics or whatever, be respectful. Look at the people around you, see what they're doing, see how they're behaving, see how they're acting in a situation. And also, you don't necessarily need to know Japanese, but you should speak slowly, clearly, and simply in English. I think those are two things that will be really helpful for you. Be respectful, pay attention to those around you to figure out what you need to do in a situation, and speak slowly and clearly in English. If you want some more advice on those types of things, I made a video on the top 20 things that you need to know before coming to Japan. I will link that video. You should check it out. Wild Tranquility on Instagram asks, what program are you working for? Are you a teacher, tutor, or assistant? Kind of all of the above. So my main job, I work for Interact, where I'm an ALT, which means Assistant Language Teacher. However, at my particular school, in my particular classrooms, I am T1, which means that I am running the class and I am teaching the class. I also teach English online with VIP Kid, where I am the full-time teacher, but it's more like being a tutor because it's a one-on-one experience. And if you are interested in knowing more about that, you can feel free to contact me and I will help you out there. Also, I sometimes pick up random teaching classes where I go help out a kindergarten or a small school somewhere, and in those situations, I'm usually more of the assistant and I'm just helping out another teacher, although sometimes I am the actual teacher, so I do a mixture of all of the above. Haley_Johnson3 on Instagram asks, what does a normal day look like for you? How do you plan what or when you want to do stuff? So for me, a normal day, Monday through Friday, when I am working and school's in, I wake up at 5 a.m., I do 10 to 15 minutes of yoga and make my coffee before I start putting on makeup. So it takes me a little bit longer to put on makeup because I have to put makeup on to cover my tattoos. And then because I do that, I have to do more so that everything blends well. It's a whole process. If you're ever interested in seeing that, I'll make a video on it. But after that, I head to the train station, take the train, take the bus, get to school, and then teach all day. After teaching all day, I come home, I make my dinner, make my lunch for the next day, and then I usually teach online classes until later in the evening, and then after that, take a shower, get ready for bed, go to sleep, repeat. So Monday through Friday is pretty like boom, 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 boom. This is my regular schedule. Saturdays and Sundays are usually my free days where I spend time editing, I spend time filming, I spend time traveling, I plan an adventure, whatever I want to do. And one of the ways that I actually plan those adventures is I keep lists in my phone of places that I want to go during each season and then just in general. So I have lists of special holidays, I have lists of places that I haven't been that I want to see the autumn leaves, places that I haven't been that I want to go for winter. I also keep lists on Instagram in the little folders if I see a picture of something somewhere that I want to check out. And then from there, I'll message my friends and be like, hey, do you want to do this? Let's go check this out. Or sometimes my friends will message me and be like, hey, this event is happening. Do you want to go check it out? So that's kind of how I plan things. I'm not great at planning, to be honest, but I do my best. KFinch__ on Instagram asks, where did you go to complete your TEFL certification? So I got my TEFL certification through the International TEFL Academy online. They do offer in-person classes as well, where you can either do classes in your area if they're offered there, or you can travel to another area to do them. But for me and my schedule, it was easiest to do them online. I had a wonderful experience, and if you want to know more about that, I will leave some links down below. You can also send me a message, and I would be happy to help you as much as I can. And with that, guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this one. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. And if you don't know what to comment down below, you can leave an emoji of your choice. Any emoji, plop them down below and say hello. Not only does that help out my channel, but it lets me know that you were here. It gives us a chance to chat, and I love to see your faces down there. Also, if you have any type of questions for a future Q&A video, you can leave them down below. You can message me on Instagram. I would be happy to answer your questions, and hopefully I can do another Q&A sooner than this one. But if you want another way to help out my channel as well, down below there are links to my Patreon, to my website, and to my merch store. So you don't have to check those out, but if you want to, you can. Thanks so much, guys, for watching. I love each and every one of you very much. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time. Bye! Oh, hello there. Yes, this is me casually drinking from my Ginky AF merch because I don't have any bloopers to share. But if you like my cup or my shirt or some leggings or some socks, there's links in the description below. Be Ginky and enjoy your coffee or tea or water or whatever else you like to drink from mugs.